gentlemen, and our friends between and beyond, and welcome to a very special episode of Hook Cooks Continental Breakfast, the improvised world-building podcast guaranteed to feed a hunger you didn't know you had. My name's Mitch, and I'm the Monster Chef.
My name is Dishbot, and tonight I will play the role of Jack.
Hey, I'm Vinny, the saucy spicer, and guys, I've done it. I have found the perfect spice.
What is it? Pray tell, what is
it?
it?
Be surprised to find out it is
Not
a
bad.
little thing I like to call salt. Turns out that shit goes on like pretty much anything.
Anything?
I mean, like, I have never come across this in my entire life, and now here I am putting it on all sorts of things.
I don't know
Right.
if I'd class salt as a spice,
Yeah,
but
well,
now I'm trying
I
to
mean,
think of what else I would...
Salt, is it?
Did you come out of
It's
Spicer's
spice.
Academy? Mitty,
Is
show me
it
your
a-
Spicer qualifications. And
I don't know.
Mm.
That's why I'm like, enlighten me. Explain to me how it's...
Salt.
Why does it feel wrong to think of as a spice?
Well, it's not spicy, is it?
Yeah, I mean, you put it on your tongue and it like crackles.
Well, that's not.
But so
That's
does
not what spiciness
so does
is.
Pop Rocks, Vinny.
Yeah, and
It's not
rocks are the
like-
perfect accoutrement.
Hot, but that's not actually what spice
Quantity of a
is.
spice is. But I feel like
Yeah.
a spice is a grown thing, and,
Hey,
and
man.
salt is a rock.
Yes.
Spices can be all sorts of things. You know, a little laughter can spice up an afternoon.
In fact, I think
nice music
But the
can spice
Colonel's
up
not
a bath.
putting laughter on the chicken, is he? In fact, I
Well-
think he's doing the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Squeezing it
Tears.
out of the chicken.
He's removing all laughter
put
that
it-
those chickens may have someday had.
Yes,
They got to put an extra spice in to take all the
Yeah.
laughter they removed.
that's right.
Oh my
that's
god.
Well, welcome to our show where we are hand mincing up a continent, one country at a time. Join us here in the kitchen of creativity as we take a random prompt, add a few secret ingredients, and turn it alchemy-like into a country ready for you, that's right, you, to stumble over in the dead of night on your way to the bathroom. Now, we've got one chef who's bravely gone where no chef before has dared. Connor, our larder critter, where be ye? Cut to Connor. Connor's in a place,
We don't
presumably
know
the
if
last place
Good
we
or
talked
bad.
about. I think it's the observatory. Oh my god, sounds thrilling and terrible.
Whoa, keep that gas mask on, brother. I hope. I hope that that's the prompt.
What?
Stay away from the monsters.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
What
that-
else? We talked about stars.
It's
probably
radiation.
something-
It was
Yeah, man.
radiation,
Radiation.
Spacey.
monsters, and the sleeping sickness.
Yeah.
Whoa,
he
don't
probably
touch
mentioned all of that
sleepies.
stuff. But this is great audio.
That's good. I hope he has like one of those full body decontamination baths
Hazmat
before he
suit.
comes back. So, with that out of the way, thank you again for checking in, Connor. But we have bigger and better things to fry up in our pressure cooker. Chefs, BFFs, let's get cooking. Vinny, the prompt this evening, what is it?
This evening's prompt is Shamanic Panic.
Shamanic panic.
Shamanic Panache.
That's the way you could pronounce it.
That's
Yeah.
one of the ways.
I like to try new things at least once.
Put some different
Yeah.
accents in some different places. See what comes out.
Well, shall we get straight into it? Where are we starting off, boys?
Well, normally we do the best before yesterday's, the nasty, deep, dark thoughts that we've been pushing down further and further, and now must pop out.
The intrusive ones.
So yeah, Vinny, why don't you kick us off with one of those?
All right, I got a best before yesterday. Let me just pop it right out of this.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Okay, best before
Out of your
yesterday.
chest? That's nuts.
I chime in with a where are my smudge sticks and hair beads? Shamanic at the Disco are back at it again with some brand new hits such as I Chant Sins, Not Runes, and The Oracle's Gospel. If you seek my spirit, you'd best bring mead, and 9 Scolds and the Raven Pact. Check them out wherever good hits are sold.
This is
Yeah,
this
that's
is
good.
fantastic because Shamanic Panic is actually the name of my soft folk Panic at the Disco cover band. We mostly play at artisanal markets, though there's a growing trend in providing sound healing for disaffected youths.
Very nice. I see we've flown too close to the same sun.
Yes, yeah. But instead of us falling to the ground, our wax wings have melted together into something even broader and more beautiful.
Biblical Hook Cook hosts.
Jack, fly up and join us.
You're still crashing. It's just heavier.
Good thing I have this soft Mitch to land on, so all is good. All right, Jackie, lay it on us.
All right. Shamanic panic. This is a term I came up with to describe how I felt when I went on a dream quest, only to realize that my spirit helper had taken the form of Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, no.
No! God, imagine being locked into that for 40 eternities.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard stuff.
Yeah.
Misa, no likey.
Misa, no likey.
I apologize to all the listeners for that and any future uterations.
Oh, God. No, Disney, get out of here. Get out of here, Disney. He didn't mean it. All right, Mitty, for that transgression, I think that you need to lay it on us. I think that it is your turn to present to us your meat and potatoes.
You want me to lay my meat and potatoes on you?
Please do.
Should I do it gently or?
Just at whatever pace is comfortable with you.
Okay, sure. I am exploring the people of this fair nation. My brothers, my sisters, my friends between and beyond. Our land is a land of warriors. Not warriors, warriors. We do not fight except for fighting the urge to vomit before social events. We do not work hard, though the sweat on our brows, under our arms, and dripping down our backs might make you think we do. Some might think it a weakness, and it is. We are weak, but in the knowledge of that weakness, in this studious fearfulness of the rest of the world, as our brains and bodies ride the ever-cresting wave of stress hormones, we grow strong. We are eternally prepared for the worst. We build our walls higher, thicker, and stronger than any other nation on this world. We are a people who never sleep, who never rest or know peace, and surely that is a strength. We are endlessly on guard, and our insurance executives are the most well-paid in the world. Where others would fall and falter, we live on, teeth chattering, hearts pounding, but alive. We shall stare down the apocalypse itself and spit in the face of doom, because it will be nothing compared to what we had imagined.
All right, so this is a bunch of people with anxiety disorder.
There are lots of very scared people who are fretting, and doomsday is approaching, and it's going to be worse than what they feared. That's the kind of pickup.
It will be nothing compared to what they feared. Yeah. They are so anxious that it's turned into a superpower, is what I'm imagining here. Their ability to sort of...
I didn't quite get much superpower out of it. It just seemed like down the line.
I mean, at the end of the day,
you need anxiety.
What I think I've brought you guys here is an amuse-bouche of an idea.
Yeah,
where like this is the culture, but I think they turn this panic, this anxiety into some like a power. And I am excited to see where we take that.
Yeah. Yes. I you know, it is funny for me to imagine a group of people dressed as wizards telling themselves that their anxiety is giving them great power and that not manifesting at all.
Yeah.
I think narratively less interesting.
Well, we'll see.
I do like the spin of like channeling that energy into some sort of kind of magical power. That's cool. Let me do that.
Cool. Well, since you're so flagrant with your compliments, and I feel totally nervous now receiving it.
Sorry, I shouldn't have.
No, that's all right. I'll go cry in a corner while you, Jack, present to us your meat and potatoes, please.
Sure thing. So tonight I was focusing on the environment portion of our little pie here. Here we go. And in some lighter news tonight, little Bess Bunions was in for a real shock this afternoon when her pet rabbit Hopsy started to speak her name. We've got the video up next. This is Ronald Can of Coke for Channel 6 News. Tonight, a special report. Are there evil shamans using nature to spy on you from the dark shadows of your neighborhood? The answer, irrefutably, is yes. Hundreds of citizens are responding to rumors relating to the so-called shamanic panic, the only way they know how. A mass purge of local wildlife in the region in order to remove the source of shamanic power. Europe, I done killed at least 15 raccoons just this afternoon. Used to be you'd only see them at night, but them furry little fellers is everywhere nowadays and getting mighty large to boot. It's them shamans, of course. This just in, City Hall has been overrun by what appears to be a horde of mutated wildlife. The animals do not appear to be violent. Their mutations have drastically changed their physical appearance. Some are much larger or much smaller in size than would be expected. Others have sprouted additional limbs or other growths. A few amongst their number have demonstrated an ability to communicate.
We are awoken. We are Animalia. We demand justice.
Whoa. Nice.
Cool, man.
That is very cool. I love this world you're spinning. I love it just like, oh man, there's a lot of shamanic activity rising. Quick, purge the wildlife.
Well, so that's a thing that I was playing with, is the idea that like
the panic was
I
real.
kind of assumed you guys would have shamans in yours, so it's fine if this doesn't go that way. But this, like, it's not necessarily shamans that have caused this. It's just like a guy on like a right-wing news channel was like, they're making the fucking frogs gay. Like,
shamans are here and they're doing some crazy shit.
I think compared to all other panics we've seen on the news, it appears this one was justified.
Yeah, pretty justified one. But yeah, I don't know. The environment responds in some way.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether there has been interference there or not.
Nice. I like it.
And man's justice.
And I think before I actually dive into it, I think that my meat and potatoes segment is a pretty perfect segue.
Nice.
So let's if you don't mind, I'll just jump straight in.
You're gonna flop out your meat and potatoes.
Flop it out. All right, here we go. The foundations of the Tower Yggdrasil. The first layer, the ground village, was where the initial transgression arose. Slow and insidious practices of dabbling in altered states of consciousness via drum circles, and slowly building over decades to full societal collapse via full-on astral projection. After some casualties and a moderate amount of infrastructure destruction, including, but not limited to, desecration of the land, the only practical solution was to entomb the village and start again, on top. Layer 2 was built to learn from the mistakes of their predecessors, and it worked for at least a couple of generations. But through curiosity and whispered secrets of trapped spirits, slowly the practices returned. Soon all woes were being cured through meditative healing practices, and before long the souls of the damned were screeching through the alleys and streets. Layer 2 was quickly scrapped to make way for the glorious return to conservative values, to be upheld in Layer 3. Layers 3, 4, and 5 were all valuable learning experiences concerning relying too heavily on totems and spirit animals. Reining in the permissive actions of those that exist primarily on the spirit plane was a must for all future projects, even though there was a unanimous decision that the next layer would be completely shaman-free. Layers 6 through 11 all fell to some variation of the inhabitants discovering the secrets of acting as mediums for the spirit plane, accidentally unleashing untethered beings and their mysteries, divination of the future and all the repercussions that arise from knowing what's to come, and attempted bindings through simple and poorly understood blood-bone totem creation. There was a notable exception of Layer 9, which only lasted roughly 400 moons before a large number of inhabitants were calcified as their spirits were unintentionally bonded to stone. The Layer 12 project is well underway, and the secrets of the past are securely locked away below. The biggest identified threats to the future of this tower-based colony are the unsecured edges of the structure, as well as the slowly eroding foundations, exposing a load-bearing structural risk to the village, but more importantly, opening cracks and crumbling holes that inquisitive children could crawl into to stumble upon the forbidden knowledge.
Wow.
That's great.
That's
really, really good. I love that. So
That's
it's like
huge.
a tower built with like
Every
societies
layer,
built on top of it.
yeah, every
and-
layer is the previously fallen society that has fallen specifically to some kind of shamanic
Yeah.
catastrophe, and they keep trying to keep it out, but it keeps seeping back in.
And they're sort of scientifically testing ways in which they can keep it out.
Yeah, they're really trying.
Yeah. That's really
That's
sick.
fantastic.
That's really, really good.
Do
Yeah.
you imagine that this whole country is like that? Like a tiered sort of, like
I
built on the...
think it's extremely interesting, and yes.
Yeah, I think so.
But
I think
it's
so
like-
too. I'm just
that
wondering
would
if
be-
that's...
I imagine it would be quite large, but I don't know if it would be like entire country size. But then again, there are some tiny countries, right? Like,
Yeah, it's like the Vatican
it is
City.
the size that it is. But this, like, I'm not very interested in exploring places outside of this.
Yeah, because this place sounds dope.
Right? Because it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, like, the idea that it could be the size of, like, a city and suburbs.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
That's kind of enough.
It's humongous, and like if we mix your part in, Jack, you know they're advanced enough. They've got televisions, they've got radio,
Yeah.
they've got right wing, left wing politics. Like the way that I kind of imagine is like every layer, there's several generations that pass before it collapses, and they just
Yes.
slap another one on top. So
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
things
I've always-
are settling down, everything's trying to go back to normal, and some giant fucking raccoons show up, and everyone's like, "Oh fuck, it's happening again!" Like,
Yeah. Well, is it new people? Like, do the people on the most recent layer know where they are and what's happening to them? Or is it all sort of a big, I would imagine it's like all sort of a big secret. And each time you go up a layer, like everyone dies and they like, I don't know, have like clone facilities or something. and pump out a
okay,
bunch of
wow.
people with
Well,
different memories and
the way
shit.
that I picture it is that like deliberately obscuring what happened to the lower layers is
Yeah.
like part of what they're doing.
Yes.
You know, it's like if anyone finds out that there was this big shamanic overload, people would want to go down there. So
Yeah.
But it's
No.
so it's more like they sort of indoctrinate and propagandize and then move the younger population up onto the bones of the old one and say like this is the new and then like by
This
another
is-
generation like
I
that's-
think
this is-
you can play with more mystery if it's a complete wipe every time. Right?
it's just
Yeah.
Rather
random
than there
people.
like being this idea, like if they don't even know they're in a tower, it's like fucking the Jim Carrey movie where he's in a dome.
Oh right.
Truman Show.
Truman Show. It's Truman Show-esque. Like they just like no one ever expresses any like want to leave this place, so they don't
Right.
ever test the boundaries of it.
And there's some
Yeah.
kind of authority that's just like knows the truth and is trying to
Yeah, keep
not
them there. It's like the scientist who's running this experiment, right? Is like the mayor of the town.
Oh, I love, and calling back to what you said before, I love that it could be like a mad scientist experimenting on like trying to like scientifically destructure like what is shamanic magic,
And maybe
right?
it's just someone who like has a incredible level of anxiety about shaman abilities and is just like we have to
Yes.
develop a civilization that is free of it
Yes,
after
yes,
like
yes, yes.
generations of
I mean, it doesn't have to be one person either. This can be like a group of people, like a
culture or-
cabal of,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
anxiety shamans.
whoever
who
it
are
is
like,
is someone that's lived for like 10 or 20 generations of people.
Mm.
is in every layer.
Yeah.
Like is always sort of there, kind of like the guy at the center of the Matrix. He's,
Yeah.
like, kind of unknowable.
And I mean, I
weird
love
and-
that stuff in like sci-fi and fantasy, like built on the bones of dead civilizations and like just like cracks
That's the
seeping
thing,
through
like-
and stuff.
Like this is like It's like when
Add on
you like
steroid.
build on a cemetery and it gets haunted, but you do that like 10 times.
That was actually the inspiration. I was going to go like, what if you just built on shaman land and like you were trying
over and over and over and over again.
And it's like every little tiny crack in like the concrete foundation is like spirits are like pouring out of it and shit. Like
yeah,
That's
cool.
cool.
Okay, that's really sweet. So yeah, I guess we have the most recent layer is kind of like modern Western
America, Midwest,
America, but animals are taking over, or at least becoming intelligent.
Yeah, or some like they are kind of unaware. I do love that there is a conspiracy theorist who is like, it's definitely shamans, but has no proof. And like doesn't actually know what or why.
In the imagination of this world where like you can travel from continent to continent, how do people visit? Like, can people visit this place? Like, what happens to visitors who come in? Do they
you wouldn't be allowed in the dome. You could at best visit the scientists.
Yeah, maybe there's a visitor center.
yeah, like a viewing platform around the outside.
There's all these one-way mirrors that like
you can get like a backstage pass.
Oh yeah. See Truman, you know.
Yeah,
like VIP tickets, you could go in and you have to, and it's like Westworld, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah, you could walk in and just like you just got to keep the secret safe.
That's good.
That's hardcore, man. That's crazy.
All right,
that sounds pretty cool. I like this country.
There's the bones of something there. Should we head on over to the spice rack?
Let's do it.
All right. So on the spice rack, we'll select a herb, which will act as our inciting event. This is a pivotal moment within our country's history, which will form the basis for our conversation. And then we will throw in a couple of spices, which are smaller scale scenarios. So our inciting event this week is immortality is discovered.
Oh,
interesting.
Well, so that's the inciting event. We talked about the scientist at the center of it being sort of magically immortal.
Yeah. I was thinking immediately they are the immortality that is discovered.
That is discovered.
Like, it's like when you see the pictures of like the Renaissance era paintings of Keanu Reeves. And it's like, oh shit, that guy's been there forever.
He's been there the whole time.
And that's how you like maybe the people realize, like the scientists live among them as the same people, or I don't know. Like that's
the scientists live among them.
Or can.
Yeah, I think there has to be representation in there.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that, there's like one guy and like no one's ever sort of questioned it before. It seems like he's the only guy that comes and goes, but they like find a drawing of him or something and he looks exactly the same.
Or people from the town get into the lab. And then they find, like finding a drawing from him might be finding a magazine that was printed about him 100 years ago. Like,
or instead of the lab, they find their way down a layer.
Oh, I mean, I think that's given. That's like
if they can
go Chekhov's gun of this particular city.
Well,
but they would find then, and it's like, oh, that guy looks exactly the same as buddy politician. What's his face? You know?
They go down a layer and find a bunch of posters and stuff of Ronald Can of Coke.
You're Ronald Can of Coke, and they're like, stay away from shamanic activities.
Yeah. Kill all the birds.
Practicing shamanism is against the law.
What if, to ground it, what if the scientists aren't immortal, but they appear immortal because within the tower, like there's a temporal misalignment within the tower. So time progresses much slower inside the tower than outside.
You mean
faster?
Much faster,
sorry. Yeah.
So the people living in the tower would go through generations in the time that the scientists go through a year.
Whereas the scientists, only experience time like slower than that.
I do find that very interesting. And then the same scientist rocks up 3 generations later and like hasn't aged.
Yes. Yeah. And so to them, he seems immortal.
Yep. I do find that quite interesting, but I'm having a hard time seeing how this like incites things to happen.
Yeah.
Aside from full spread panic, which like I feel like a lot of our creations end up there.
Well, it's more. It doesn't necessarily have to be chaos, right? Like I think discovering this, whether it is like actual immortality or not, is essentially the people within the tower realizing the reality of their situation, that they're part of an experiment.
Oh, and also understanding who's
sort of playing the strings.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily have to trigger societal collapse, right? I think it would be interesting if we explored how that could not. Maybe there are safeguards for that sort of thing. So like they have a conversation with Ronald Kanakirk, and he's like, okay, well, you can either continue on in the experiment. Like we've never had an experiment where the people knew that they were in an experiment. Maybe that's a different variable. Or I can kill, like I can wipe the floor right now.
Yeah, we start again with layer 15 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know. Well, that's, I mean, a pretty forced choice.
It is.
And so, it'd be like cool to like incite rebellion.
But kind of interesting. But I mean, it would also like, as soon as Ronald disappears, there'd be lots of discussions. Like he said, we are layer 12. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah. Do we go down?
Yeah. Why are all mining tools banned in the town? Like,
what if the discovery of immortality, to make this kind of a real defined change, I suppose to kind of remove some of that power from Ronald, what if like they lock him up? Like they discover that they're in this experiment, they stop the experiment, and like then what's happening from here on out is like this is still these people's home. It's still their country.
Yep. They are trying now to interface with the wider...
They're trying to, interface with the broader world, but they don't have any understanding of it, and they live in an incredibly magically charged place.
And insular, and the levels down below are full of like wild magical animals and stuff like that.
And I love thinking about the ramifications of like, what if one country is operating at like 50 times the speed of another country? How does trade work?
Yeah.
How does like...
Yeah, so if we do the temporal thing, they don't even have to lock him up. They kill him, right?
Yeah.
They discover that he's immortal in that time outside of the tower moves differently, and it seems like he's immortal. And their reaction to that is they just fucking murder him.
I like there's a sequence where they lock him up for 10 years and he's freaking out because he's like, shit, time moves so quickly in here. When I get outside, things are going to be different.
Give us the answer to the questions and that sort of thing. And they sort of learn about the outside world in that time.
Yep.
And then they go out. But then they're moving in and out of this tower.
Yep.
They come back and 20 years has passed.
And with his knowledge, they like suddenly spike in like technology learned, and then they like one of them steps out and is like impersonating him and goes through the lab and like knows the sequence of the lab, and like that would be a really cool
it can
story.
Just like there doesn't have to be other people in the lab. It can just be him running the experiment.
I feel like we're leaning more
like
towards
that might make it simpler.
It's just him. Yeah, okay.
So they step out, and there's like a bunch of wealth, I suppose, and that sort of stuff in this tower, and they now control it rather than being controlled.
Yep. I kind of want to retain that like the people who live inside the bubble are like sort of always temporarily displaced, and that even going out of their bubble sort of makes them continue to be temporarily displaced, because I really enjoy the concept of one country interacting with other countries but operating 50 times faster. So like trade networks and stuff would be like a really interesting problem to solve.
They're always going 50 times.
So it's like something genetic
faster,
for them.
But they're perceiving that 50 times faster as their speed.
Yeah, and maybe they're tiny, right? Maybe they're only this big, so they're not just going to immediately conquer the world or something, or Like it's like they're weird replica homunculus humans who are operating outside of normal time.
That is interesting. I suppose I also do find the counterpoint of that interesting, of like people leaving the tower
and coming back
into normal time.
Mm.
And then when they go back, like 20 years has passed or whatever.
Yeah,
that sort of thing. It's almost like space travel, right?
I would assume that they would either all leave the tower and just go set up another base, like home outside.
I think there has to be a reason why they would want to stay in the tower. Otherwise, it would just be an empty tower.
Okay, well, in that case, they kill the scientist, and they can't get out of the.
Yeah, I still like. I think
interact.
The push and pull of going in and out is interesting.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I think it's like this is an incredibly magically charged place with all that shamanic energy. Maybe when they get out, they just get hit with this like inescapable panic the longer that they're out.
Yeah, okay.
It just like, builds this terrible sort of discomfort and tension until they can get back into the space.
Draw the panic into it, and it's actually it's not Ronald as a representation of panic, but it's these people have become shamans because they've sort of
soaked in the energy.
Owned this tower. They own this tower now. Like they're the nexus of it. And that they leave and they still have access to their powers, but they become overridden with panic and anxiety and an urge to go back home.
Yep. Yeah. I like that. Can I ask that the scientist is still alive and has formed some kind of like relationship?
I like the idea of him in prison as like an old sort of semi-mentor, semi-captive.
Yeah, he's like maintaining the tower.
Yeah, like maybe like he's remorseful or regretful. Maybe he's bitter and curmudgeonly.
Yeah,
but
he warns all the people that like if he disappears, all of the stuff from the previous layers is going to come back.
Yeah, it will bubble up.
Because I want him to exist if someone else comes to this place. I want him to.
No, yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like, is the history of this place?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, well, we've fleshed a lot out, and in terms of what's happening, there. Let's go through some scenarios though. So this, I guess, let's wind this back to the moment,
the inciting
of the inciting event.
Okay. Yep.
Therefore, a battle is resolved with a game. Is our first scenario.
Okay.
A battle. So the battle could be between the people of the tower and other spiritual entities within the tower.
Yeah.
It could be between the people of the tower and the scientists. It could
like
be
a battle for their independence.
The tower and outside people.
Or I feel like I kind of want it to be between like spirits and people, because you could also kind of like a spirit might appreciate an abstract game as a way to resolve.
I think so. I think that's the cleanest one is like maybe the sketch here is sort of everything that we talked about so far, right? And the scientist is like locked up in a cell. And then the next thing that happens is like these spiritual entities from below start bubbling up, and they go and talk to him, and they're like, how do we deal with this? And he's like, well, you got to keep me around. Like,
he's like, what I usually do is I kill all of you and build a new layer on top. So far, that's been working just fine.
I call it a game.
But maybe you can play a different game, I suppose, and just see.
So he teaches them this, specific game.
This game that they play.
He plays with the spirits to calm them or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of
something.
It's maybe you know how like there's like that folklore about like you can stop a vampire in its tracks by dropping a bag of rice.
Yeah,
giving me like that kind of energy where it's like, oh, you just lay all these sticks out and then like You take turns taking a stick until there's no sticks left, and the person who took the last stick is the winner, or some weird.
Yeah, it's like Sphinx stuff, right? You've got to like solve a riddle or.
I mean, and it's got to be a thing where it's like it's easier for him to kill everyone and make a new layer rather than do this game thing all the time to calm the spirits, right? Because what he's been doing instead is just resetting and starting again.
The reset happens when everything goes real bad. So he's probably had lots of little learnings up until that point. And now he's actually invested in keeping this layer safe because they've got him hostage.
What if we lean into the like idyllic Pleasantville 1960s America vibe, and it is like different card games that you have to play against like spiritual entities. And if they're like not very powerful, the card game's like simple. It's like Go Fish or something like that. And then it like scales up to the point that you're like playing like poker against the best poker player in the world. Or you're playing like bridge against someone who's really good at bridge.
Yeah.
And
you're
he's
playing...
I just hate card games. I'll play Go Fish and I'll destroy these like weak entities at Go Fish. Like that's really easy. They're really bad at Go Fish. But like once you hit the like guys that are really good at blackjack, like I normally just wipe the layer. Like
when you're playing Go against the Skinwalker, like shit is rough.
It kind of hits the fan. So like
that's why I reset. But you guys are welcome to give it a crack.
You guys are welcome to keep going, I suppose. But
yeah, he's got like a couple good chess openings, and then that's it, right?
Yeah, totally.
Once someone's elo gets above like 1,200, 1,500, you just can't.
Yeah.
I like that's really
because we've set up this idea of like I guess kind of a faux modernity. So like lean into that, right? They are playing these games. I mean, I've been saying it for years. Deep Blue is the scariest spirit on the planet, and I think we should exercise Deep Blue. But it's an argument for another day, I suppose. Cool. Should we do another scenario?
Yeah, chuck one on the pile.
All right. Saboteur is caught red-handed.
Oh,
someone's got loaded dice.
So a spirit becomes like particularly menacing and angry because someone's trying to cheat them.
What if the first time they play, they ask the scientist to play, and he tries to like throw the game so that the layer will blow up? Or like
that's
so
effectively
that
suicide, right?
Or whatever, and he can try and get out.
Okay.
And they find out, and that's like the genesis for them being like, no, we've got to like
take our
really
destiny into our own hands in some way. I like that. I think that's cool. It like wraps it up in a neat little bow rather than sort of adding more characters. It sort of tightens things up.
Is there another angle though? Like it doesn't necessarily have to be building off the game thing either, right? It could be like maybe
I think
there are other scientists associated with him. They lose contact with him and they try and like break in.
Or it could be someone who's gone like mad knowing that they're like living in a bubble and trying to like blow up the temporal misalignment sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that will like de-age everyone or something. Who knows, We had talked about like the scientist having either being on the inside occasionally or having some people on the inside. And maybe that's a role there where it's like, there are some people working for the scientist on the inside who are trying to break him out or something like that.
The scientist has a fail-safe on the inside in case things go bad and they catch him while he's trying to activate it.
What if there are other communities like this one in secret around the planet and they're all talking to each other, right? And so this community goes offline and some people come to like check out what's going on and they try and break the scientist out and they're caught. And so that establishes within this country that there are outside forces trying to
other countries.
Well,
in
there are
the
other
same-
towers like this,
Are they
right?
in this- in this-
Similar in function, different, I suppose.
Because
in
I
like-
guess it's such a cool idea, we might want to do it again in a different
well,
style.
we don't need to do it again, but within
no,
the
but we
story
can
of
present
this,
it
like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's one that's under the sea. There's one in a volcano. There's one on a
I'm
tropical
specifically
island,
thinking
one
again of Fallout, right, and the different vaults.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's that sort of
That's
thing.
cool.
There's this linkage between, like sort of different areas, and
Yeah,
so
there's-
that triggers this idea within the community as well of like, okay, there's stuff out there that is like aware of us now
Yeah.
and trying to shut us down, and
And-
that then creates some of that pull, I suppose, in terms of what we were talking about around like, well, now we need to go and explore the outside a little bit more. We
Yeah,
need to
because
know
it's
what's
like
out
there could
there.
be people like us who are
Yeah.
like how we were. We didn't
Totally.
know that we existed in a wider realm,
Yeah,
and we
Yep.
should go and try and find them and save them. But it's
Plus-
scary out there.
Plus, they've just caught 2 people from these other towers, right? So they could also get knowledge of like what's going on in those towers, like
totally.
knowledge of their plans. What else is on the outside world?
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah,
Kind
and
of
the
cool.
leader of it all,
Kind of creepy. Kind of
Walter
weird.
Psychorpus.
This is such a weird place to think about visiting, though. Like it feels like
It
they really wouldn't want anyone to come in.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
get your work cut out for you, Connor.
Well, they're super curious. Oh yeah, true. Maybe you gotta.
there is a visitor center.
yeah.
Yeah,
We'll get
yeah.
you a
You can go
visa.
to the visitor center.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta go.
They might be really angry that you're there, but
I like the visitor center, and I think that they would like if you're not from one of these other communities, they would
Yeah.
probably be totally chill to meet you. Be like, oh my god, people from the outside who are not here to like destroy
Yeah.
us.
Mm,
yeah, totally.
yeah,
Come
yeah.
in, you know.
How good are you at Monopoly?
They've got this on entry. They've got this huge like sign that's like shamanic energy activity today. It's like extra low. do not cross any bones on your doorstep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
Well, yeah. I'll run through a little bit of a summary, I suppose, of what we've got. So we've got a giant tower. That is our country today. It's sort of got different layers of different civilizations, sort of spiritual energy built upon spiritual energy built upon spiritual energy. And it's all sort of being monitored by a scientist who is discovered, and the people of the tower take the tower back. And they find out that they need to play games to appease the spirits, and that there are also other towers out in the wide world for them to go and discover. Should we name this tower?
Instead of naming the tower, we could name like the collection of entities that own and operate all the towers in the area.
Psycorp.
Yeah. And so then this would be like,
Psycorpia.
well,
Listen,
no, this would be like
Tower
like
007.
Psi Tower G7
Tower.
or something like that.
What about Psi Tower 66? Because
Yeah.
it's kind of is spooky, demonic.
Yeah,
And also it's like, you know, that like Midwest Americana vibe
Yeah, like
where
Route
you get your
66.
kicks.
Side Tower Highway 66.
Psi Tower 66.
Psi
I like-
Tower
I like
66.
that.
No,
What?
yeah.
But then, like, that's the tower. What do the people call their town?
Home.
It's
Home.
just called home.
That's really cute.
Homeville.
I really like that. It's just home.
Yeah, they
Welcome
don't have
to-
a reason to refer to it as a location because no other locations exist.
Welcome to home.
Welcome home.
Oh man,
Population 10,000.
Where are you
I'm
from?
feeling
Home or away?
I'm feeling kind of sketchy out here, guys. I'm gonna go back home for a bit. I'll meet you back out here. And then
That's
20
good.
years pass. And
Home
their kids-
inside Tower 66.
Nothing to see here, folks. All right. Well, I think that works. I like that.
That's
feel like
really,
Nice.
really
could-
nice. Neat little bow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
Bow it up.
All right. Should we say some thank yous as
You're
we
welcome.
wrap up here?
Let's do it. Thanks, Jack.
So first off,
Thanks, Jack.
thanks, guys. Big thank you to Halizna for our opening theme, and an equally big thank you to Avery Adler, who created the Quiet Year, which we've used as the basis for the world building game we play each and every week.
Yes, and a large and in charge thank you to you, dear listeners, for your time. If you enjoyed the meal, please don't forget to tip your servers and leave a rating in the comment section of your favorite podcasting app.
My name is Dishbot, and tonight I have played the role of Jack.
I'm Vinny, Saucy Spicer.
I'm Mitch. I'm Monster Chef. Thank you all so much for listening. Are we happy, boys?
Yes! Yepperino! Sheparino.
Yeah, whack-a-mole is
I mean, chess is a battle.
Yeah.
Some games are battle. Monopoly is a battle.
Yeah, right. He pulls out a copy of Settlers of Catan, and they settle in.
Now that's a game.